It might not have been a pretty win, but the Detroit Lions did indeed win in Week 12 against the New York Giants and keeping their streak alive of not losing two consecutive regular season games in 3 years. So that streak continues, and we are facing the Green Bay Packers on Thanksgiving. So win or lose, streak stays alive. And the Detroit Lions have pretty much been in the top 10 in power rankings all season long. Just not as good as the previous years. So far, it looks like we are going to top 5 losses. The Lions have been 9-8. They've progressed every season. They've been 3-13-1, 9-8, 12-5, 15-2. That's going to be very hard to top. 15-2 is almost impossible. 16-1, 17-0. But I don't really care what the record is as long as we have enough wins to get us in the playoffs. And then after that, then we'll let the chips fall where they may, as they say. So that's my main concern right now, is getting into the playoffs. But the Detroit Lions were taken to the wire, literally to the wire, by a not so good football team. I did see some of you in the comment section will say, hey, the Giants have been this, and the Giants have played these guys tough, and the Giants aren't scrubs and all this stuff. And that might be true. But just like the 2021 Detroit Lions were in a lot of those games, they did not know how to finish the game, which makes them a bad football team. That we simply going by the record here. So you can fight all you want, but when it comes down to triple zeros being on the clock, do you have more points than the other team? That's all it boils down to. So the Giants are not a good team. They are the first team eliminated from playoff contention in the NFL. So I don't think that's a good team. But the Detroit Lions found a way to win on the legs of Jahmyr Gibbs. And, it was like they were trying to give the game away. But Jahmyr Gibbs really did his thing and helped the Detroit Lions seal the deal. And with that, not only do they move to 7-4, but they keep their playoff hopes alive. Yes, I'm saying playoff hopes, because right now the Detroit Lions are not in the playoffs. But we got to worry about Green Bay, which is coming up in 48 hours. But right now we're doing the power ranking. So where are the Detroit Lions? I think last week they were 8. They were still in the top 10. And they were 8. I believe they will be in the top 10 now. I don't know where they will be, though. I have a feeling they're going to stay where they were and not go up or down. So I think that the Detroit Lions are going to remain at 8. Let's take a look at the NFL power rankings for Week 13. All right, so let's take a look at it and see what the headline is. The headline says NFL Power Rankings, Week 13. Patriots crack top 5. Eagles, Bills, Steelers, and Bucks all tumble. I think the Bucks are going to be out of the top 10. Like I said, I could see the Lions being where they were. All right, so the number 1 team in the NFL is going to have to be... I really don't know. Number 1, the LA Rams. Of course, they actually have the best record in the National Football League. And they have the best record in the NFC, of course, if they have the best record in the National Football League. So the Rams remain at number 1. Number 2 is going to be the Seattle Seahawks. Somebody also asked, why don't I go from 10 to 1? Because he goes from 1 to 32. That's how, otherwise I would have to go from 32. This says NFL power rankings, but this is more of a Detroit Lions thing. Seattle Seahawks, number 2. Number 3 is going to be the Denver Broncos, up 2 spots. Number 4 is going to be the Indianapolis Colts, down 2 spots. Number 5, the New England Patriots, up 1 spot. Number 6, the Philadelphia Eagles, down 3 spots after blowing a 21-point lead against their rival Dallas Cowboys. I mean, Jerry Jones ain't looking too stupid after that trade. Cowboys are playing some good football. Number 7 is going to be the Green Bay Packers, up 2 spots. Now, remember I said that the Detroit Lions were going to remain at 8? Let's see if I was right. Number 8, the Detroit Lions. If they would have lost, they would have dropped out of the top 10, but they won, so they remained in the top 10. Number 9, the San Francisco 49ers, who actually have right now the 7th seed in the NFC. And number 10 is going to be the Buffalo Bills, man, all the way down. Josh Allen was sacked 8 times. I think it was something like some ridiculous stat, man, but he was sacked 8 times, and they fall from 7 to 10, and that's going to round out the top 10. All right, what did he have to say about the Detroit Lions? Says the Lions needed a twisting 59-yard field goal from Jake Bates and a 69-yard OT touchdown from Jahmyr Gibbs to survive against the Giants, and it felt more like a relief than jubilation at the game's end. Everything seemingly became more difficult for Detroit, even things we used to take for granted, like Jared Goff's pass protection, and Amon-Ra St. Brown's ability to catch everything thrown his way. Now that those are no longer givens, it becomes tougher to beat even routine opponents when the defense can't prevent big plays. This has been a gauntlet of a schedule, so the Lions are allowed a tough game here and there, and they remain strong contenders for both the playoffs and the 3rd straight division title. Still, it's hard not to be a little antsy about their chances with so many more tough games remaining and some issues seemingly not going away. Well, again, you can tell, man, by the way that he writes his articles that he's not a fan of the Detroit Lions. There was some legitimate points in there. We know that there are some holes on the Detroit Lions team, and unfortunately, they're not going to be able to be filled this season. And hopefully Brad takes care of business in the offseason. I mean, he's running out of chances. Brad Holmes only has 2 more opportunities until he gets extended. Those are the facts. So he might not have as much time as, he thinks. But then again, he'll probably get extended. Him and Dan will probably get extended. So maybe they'll get another 2 or 3 years. But right now, they only got 2 more off seasons to get this thing together. And I believe that, yes, we used to take some things for granted. Amon-Ra St. Brown doesn't drop balls, but he is now. Now, apparently there is a wrist injury that he's dealing with, that he's been dealing with since the Washington Commander game. But even before that, man, he was kind of dropping some passes. He probably have more drops in year 5 than he had in the previous 4. But even with those drops, he only needs 6 catches to pass Michael Thomas for the most receptions in 5 years. And he will break that. He is the Detroit Lions. I remember we were talking about like Jamison Williams being the number 1 receiver. That's not going to happen now with this team. St. Brown, even dropping the balls that he has this year, is still the most reliable target for the Detroit Lions. So I feel like I do agree with the jubilation. It was more of a relief than the celebration. You guys saw the post-game video. I was upset because this is a team that we should have beat. You don't get taken. Okay, so the Giants were playing for pride. They were playing for their former head coach. They were playing for their interim head coach. All of that is fine and dandy. We went through that in 2020, 100%. We won that first game with Darrell Bevel, and then we lost all the other ones. But be that as it may, the Detroit Lions were the better team. By far the better team. You were without your number 1 wide receiver. You were without your number 1 running back. And you still got all these yards thrown on you. But we know why, though. We know why. It's the lack of a pass rush. That's just the bottom line of it. It's the lack of a pass rush. But the Detroit Lions win, and they live to fight another day. And this is going to be, he was right, it is a gauntlet of a schedule. We have 3 division opponents, and all of those games are usually played tough. There's a good possibility that the Minnesota Vikings will be done, that they will be playing for nothing by the time we play them on the 25th. It's the second to last game. And just a side note, I think Justin Jefferson, I know he got paid recently. I think he's going to find his way off the Vikings. The Vikings are just not it. I think he's going to eventually not be in a Viking uniform very soon, either when his contract is up or before that even happens. He's getting a little frustrated over there. But they're not going to be playing anything. And I think the 3 biggest games, out of the 6 that we have left, 4 of them are giant. The 3 division games, as a matter of fact, 5 of them are giant. The only one that's not as big, I'm not saying we can afford to lose, but the only one that's not as big is the one against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But we have, check this out, and I made a video, you can check it out. It's the one before this one, about what we're up against. The team that we're about to play Thursday is in the playoffs and in the division and beat us once already. So that game is colossal. Then the very next game against the Dallas Cowboys, they are battling to get in the playoffs. They're still really in contention for winning their division, but right now they're on the outside with us looking in. I think they're right underneath us. And they started miserably. They made a couple trades, traded away Micah Parsons, got Kenny Clark, traded for Quentin Williams, right? So now they're in contention, like for the playoffs. I'm not saying Super Bowl. Then you go against then you have the LA Rams, and the LA Rams are playing phenomenal football right now. They're playing phenomenal football. Then you come back, Pittsburgh Steelers. And then the last two games of the season are against a team that in all likelihood, in my opinion, will be probably at best, in my opinion, 6-9. And they'll be gone. They'll be done. But they can play spoiler. Then we're going to come down to that last game against the Bears. And like I said in the previous video, in the video right before this one, that the NFC North will have two teams. There is going to be, so one of these teams is not going to be in the playoffs. You ready? San Francisco 49ers, in my opinion, it's going to be the Niners, the Bears, the Packers, or the Lions. One of those four teams is not going to be in the playoffs. They're going to be 3 from the West, 2 from the North, 1 from the South, and 1 from the East. That's how I think this is going to play out. But again, we got to take care of business. But as far as us remaining 8th, I'm not mad at that at all. I mean, I'm surprised with giving up over 500 yards of offense that we did not drop out of the top 10. But I think if we would have lost that game, we probably would have been like 13 with the amount of yards that we gave up and losing to a team that was 2-9. You have no team, that team should not be in the top 10. That's just my thoughts. But let me know yours down in the comments below. This channel is made possible by viewers, subscribers, and members just like you. It's because of your support I get to do what I do. You could be anywhere else on YouTube, but you choose to rock with me. Don't forget, I got, if you haven't been tapped into every video or you haven't watched the community post, we are going to do games that directly affect the Detroit Lions. At the time that we do them, or I plan them, we'll see if they if the outcome affects the Detroit Lions, we'll do it. So no AFC, we're not going to do AFC versus AFC. That doesn't make any difference for the Detroit Lions, but I wanted to put that out there. That started in week 11. So we're not going to do every game, but we will do the ones that affect the Detroit Lions. Here's what's going to happen. That game will only be live and viewable while we are doing the game. After that game is over, the live stream will archive. So you will not be able to access it after the game. I did a couple. We had a great time, but I don't want them to affect the channel any further than they will. So after if you're not in the stream, you won't be able to see it after. Okay, so we're going to do that from week 11 on. It won't be every game. It'll just be probably the most important. I don't know if I want to do every game. It'll probably be like the most directly, the one that affects the Detroit Lions the most. That's probably the one that we'll do. All right. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.